In this video, we are going to learn to draw fundamental geometries such as lines, rectangles, and squares on Solidworks. As we have already entered the sketching section and chosen front plane as the plane that we are going to do our sketch, first of all, we will start through lines. In Command Manager, we click on the line section. Then click on the one end of the line, drag to the other end, and drop at the end. When you draw a line, you will see that on the bottom right corner, your sketch is underdefined. That means you should assign geometric constraints on your sketch in order to make it fully defined. As long as your sketch remains underdefined, once your sketch is opened by other users, they can be easily changed. That's why we should assign the length of this line. In order to do this, we are going to use Smart Dimension. In Solidworks, we use Smart Dimension very frequently in order to assign specific geometric constraints. On Command Manager, under Exit Sketch section, we have Smart Dimension tool. We click on this. Then on our cursor, we can easily see the sign of the Smart Dimension. Unless you click on the Smart Dimension section one more time, your operations will be held under Smart Dimension tool. Therefore, when you are done with dimensioning your sketch, you should close it by clicking on the section one more time. As we have clicked on Smart Dimension, we click on our line according to the dimension that we want to assign. Then we click one more time. A modifier window opens in which we can assign the exact dimension. For example, in this case, let us assign this dimension as 100 millimeter. As you can see that our units will be in millimeters. Then, after we have decided the dimension, in order to make the sketch fully defined, we should also assign one more geometric relation, which corresponds to, for example, the horizontal distance in between 2 points of the line. In order to assign the distance in between 2 points by using Smart Dimension, we click 2 points in succession and assigning the exact dimension like we did before. As you can see that from now on your line sketch is fully defined. Now we can continue through rectangles. To delete the sketch in Solidworks, we choose the whole sketch on our cursor. But first of all, we have to exit from the Smart Dimension. We choose the whole sketch and click on the delete button. And we have to verify it. Then to start to draw a rectangle, we click on the rectangle tool on the Command Manager. After we have clicked, you will see that another window opens at the left side, which includes the rectangle types that you can draw on Solidworks. In the first type, we draw our cursor in between two mutual corners of the rectangle. We click on the one end, drag to the other end, and leave it. In the second type, we drag our cursor from the center of the rectangle, drag our cursor into one mutual corner of the rectangle, and leave it. In the third type, we drag our cursor in between two ends of the corner, then continue to drag it to the mutual corner of the rectangle. In all of these cases, we assign the dimensions of the rectangle by using smart dimensions in order to make them fully defined. For example, in the second one, in order to make it fully defined, we have to assign the lengths of the corners, sides of the rectangle. For example, 100 millimeter as the horizontal length and 90 millimeter as the vertical length. As you can see that once the color of your sketch has become black, it means that your sketch on Solidworks turns out to be fully defined. As long as the sketch is not stationary, so how we are going to understand whether our sketch is fully defined or underdefined? When you click on your sketch and when you move your cursor, if the sketch is not stationary, it means that your sketch is not fully defined. In order to delete the whole sketch, we did the same thing. We choose the whole sketch by our cursor and then click on the delete button. Now we can continue through circles. We click on the circle tool on command window. There are two ways that we can draw a circle on Solidworks, as you can see on the left side of your window. In the first case, we click on one point, drag our cursor and leave it, either by using Smart Dimension or by directly assigning the value of your diameter or radius on the left window of your interface. You can make it fully defined. But of course, to make your sketch fully defined, you have to determine its positioning on your plane. Now, how we can understand this? When you click your sketch, when you do this, you can understand that the radius of your sketch is not defined. In that case, you can use Smart Dimension to directly assign the value of your diameter. As you can understand that your sketch from now on is fully defined. When you click on the circle tool one more time, you can use the other way to draw a circle. In the second case, we click on the 3 points on the circle in succession. First one, second one, and third one. Then assign the diameter or the radius of your circle as usual. Now we continue through the arcs. As you can see that there are 3 ways to draw an arcs. The first one, second one, and the third one. In the first one, we click on the center of the arc. Then drag our cursor up to the circle that our arc will lie on. Then by dragging our cursor, we can determine the 2 ends of our arc. In the third one, we click the first point, then the second point, and eventually the third point. In both of the cases, by using Smart Dimension, we can directly assign the value of the radius. We click on the Smart Dimension. We see the sign of Smart Dimension on our cursor. Then click on our arc and determine the radius of the arc. Of course, we have to determine the center of the arc's position on the plane. In order to do this, we are going to use Smart Dimension one more time. We click on the center of the arc. Then, for example, a specific point which might correspond to the origin of our coordinate system. Then determine the vertical distance as 200 millimeter, for example, and horizontal distance as 25 millimeter. Now we continue through the slots. First of all, we will be talking about the straight slots. We click on the slot tool, and these are the straight slots. We determine the line that connects 2 points of the circular parts of the slot. Then drag our cursor outward up to the slot itself. Then by using Smart Dimension, we can assign the value of the side lengths and the radii of the circular parts. To draw a center point arc slot, first of all, we are going to use the third way. We determine the center of the arc, then drag it into the circle that our circular slot will lie on. Then the operations are the same as we have done for straight slots. First of all, we click, then continue to the other point and drag our cursor outward up to the slot itself. Now we continue through the ellipses. After we click on the ellipse tool on the command manager, first of all, we click on a point on the plane. For example, the origin of our plane. After we have clicked, you will realize that a non-defined circle will show up. This circle will be the circle within which our ellipse will lie on. We drag our cursor up to a certain distance, then leave it. You will realize that as long as you are moving your cursor, the minor radius of your ellipse will change, and you can leave it. By using Smart Dimension, we can easily assign the exact values of major and minor diameters of the ellipse. We click on the Smart Dimension. We click on the first point, then its mutual corner. If you want to determine the exact length in between these 2 points, by using Smart Dimension, we write the exact value. Then do the same thing for the other one. When we do this, on the left window, there will show up some major geometric constraints like Of course, when we do this, we can understand that even if we have assigned the lengths, still our sketch is underdefined. In order to make the sketch fully defined, we are going to assign more geometric constraints. For example, we can assign that these 2 points are horizontal. That is, they lie on a horizontal line. In order to do this, first of all, we click this point and then click on the control button. By clicking on the control button, we click on the other point, and some geometric relations show up on the left side of the interface. If we click on horizontal section, from now on, these 2 points will lie on a horizontal line through the origin. That's why, if we verify this operation, our sketch will be fully defined from now on. Eventually, we talk about the polygons. After we click on the polygon tool on the command manager. On the left window, we can determine the number of sides of the polygon by assigning the exact value. For example, 5. Then we click on one point on our plane, which will correspond to the center of the polygon circle. Then by using Smart Dimension, we can assign the values of sides and specific angles. For example, if we click on Smart Dimension and then click on one side of polygon, we can directly determine the length of this side, for example 300 millimeter. Then we can assign this point will be vertical to the center of the circle. In order to do this, we do the same thing. First of all, we click on the first point. Then, by continuing to clicking on the control button, we click to the center of the circle. And then, we choose the vertical relation. As long as we have verified this geometric constraint, our sketch will be fully defined. Of course, these are not the only ways that we can make a sketch fully defined. Thank you for listening this video. That's all for this video. See you on the next one.